Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Good evening. Welcome to the show. The people in the world that I have most sympathy with are unborn children. Because unborn children have no say whatsoever in the conception. Adults get together, that's it. They're on the way. They make the most incredible journey from the safety and security of the womb, and they make it out into the world. It is an extraordinary journey. It would make any potholer proud. And they're there, they make their way out. And you ever see them come out? Followed by the umbilical cord. They're about to make their first bungee jump. And somebody cuts the cord. You're cooed over, you're oohed over, you're awed over. You're taken home. The extraordinary thing with parents, they feel this necessity to wrap babies up. They wrap them up like mummies. First thing they do is put a little nappy on them, then a little vest, little woolen vest, little woolen hat, woolen jacket, woolen trousers. Then they wrap them in a blanket. Then they put them in a pram with 2 or 3 other blankets on it. And there's a hot water bottle in there. And the kid is in there going, shit, what? Oh, I said, it's so hot. So he starts to scratch himself. And people say, he's scratching himself. Got to stop that. Put mittens on him. And his body's going mad, and he's got the... So he starts to cry, and people say, why is he crying? He's crying because he's bloody itchy, and nobody will understand it. I first began to discover an intelligence in children, baby children, tiny, newborn children, when I looked after my nephew. First looked after my nephew. And we were sitting in a park. He is in a pram. And his parents have bought him the regulatory rattle, the compulsory rattle. Every baby in the world has to have a rattle. We assume that babies rattle. We never say to a baby, hey, do you like the rattle? We give him a rattle. You as an adult, could you take it? Every 2 or 3 minutes, some arsehole coming up and going... You'd be a screaming lunatic. And I watched this nephew of mine sitting there, and everybody's coming, ooh, woogie, woogie, oogie, loogie, boogie, buggy, buggy. And then they pick up the rattle and they go, and then they put it back in the pram, and off they'd go. And he'd pick it up, and he'd throw it out of the pram. And some other arsehole would come along and pick it up. Did the baby drop the rattle? And they'd go away. And this could go on for hours, and I'm beginning to think, maybe he doesn't like it. Maybe he's trying to get rid of this bloody thing. And I tested it out. I left it on the ground, and I saw this fella come along and pick it up and go, and I saw the kid's face. He can't speak. He's thinking, stick it up your arse, but don't put it in here. I've watched parents bathing their children. God. Are you a mother, lady, mother? You bathe your children? Remember you bathing the children? Did you ever test the temperature when you were bathing your child? Yes? How did you test the temperature of the water? With your elbow. Your elbow. When you have a bath, do you get a total stranger to come in and test the temperature? No, of course you don't. And not only do you test the water for somebody else, but you test it with the most gnarled piece of skin on your body. I've seen mothers go, that's all right. The child is in. He's in there. And the splash goes, lovely, lovely, lovely. He loves it. They take him out and say, healthy little boy. Poor bastard's half boiled, for God's sake. When you fed, you remember feeding your child? Solids. You strapped them into a chair, is that right? You strapped them in a chair, right? And you bring out something that is a combination of oxtail and apple. Is that right? It sits there like a steaming turd. Now, half the joy of food is how appetizing it looks. Now, you as an adult could look at that and go, no, thank you, no way, not at all. Or if you like the look of it, you could salivate and you go, yes, I'd like to taste that. But a child can. It sits there. The child hasn't got the language. He can't say, Jesus, I don't want that. Don't give it to me. But he shows you, he tells you, by every instinct of his body language, he turns away. And the parents will grab him. And he's doing, and they squeeze his chest. I've seen him go. I've seen him use a spoon like a wedge. Come on. Open. I've seen them resort to trickery. They'll suddenly go, tick, 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 tick. Oh, boom. And even when it's in, even if the child, he still doesn't, he spits it out, for Christ's sake. I mean, if you spat out food as an adult, I would assume you didn't like it. The child goes, and they scoop it up. They scoop it out of the chest, the chair, the floor, whacked in again. And the child is waiting. The child's not an idiot. The child is waiting. He's waiting for that moment when you pick him up. And you start to bang him on the back to bring the wind up. He's going to bring more than the wind up. Oh, Jesus. All the mythology about food, all that crusts and her curly hair and carrots and fish. I tried it. I used to eat fish because I was told to give me brains. Carrots wouldn't let me see in the dark. Jesus, I walked into more walls. I was such a brat. Cabbage, let me tell you, I do not like cabbage. I've never liked cabbage. I hate cabbage. Now, I would totally accept, if an adult said to me, I do not like cabbage, I would accept it. Why can't they accept a child saying, I do not like cabbage? My mother was always putting cabbage in front of me. I don't like cabbage. Yes, you do. I don't. Don't argue with me. You're just a selfish little child. You think of nobody but yourself. Now, eat your cabbage. Think of the starving children. They always bring those bastards into it, don't they? I used to say, well, put it in a bloody envelope and send it to them. There's the eating habits of children. My brother was a very, what I would call, my mother wasn't a terribly good cook. My brother was probably a bit more honest than the rest of us. He was finicky about his food. He used to just kind of move it around the plate. Didn't eat it, just used to kind of circle it around. And we had about 4 dogs and cats. And he suddenly go, and a big... Well, a dog would catch it in midair, go... And for punishment, for not eating his food, my mother would say, if you don't eat his food, you'll go to bed. And he'd go, okay, and he'd piss off. was called punishment. I grew up to that.
Go to bed.
Punishment. I was about 19 years of age. I was over here. And a young female said to me, do you want to come to bed? And I said, what have I done?